Bye-bye. Look, see, he's smiling. See, he's having a good time. I love the old days, you know? You know what I hate? There's a guy totally disruptive, throwing punches. We're not allowed to punch back anymore. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. That's true. You know, I love our police, and I really respect our police, and they're not getting enough. They're not. But honestly, I hate to see that. Here's a guy throwing punches, nasty as hell, screaming and everything else when we're talking. And he's walking out, and we're not allowed, you know, the guards are very gentle with him. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Tradition of the fascists, Trump uses his rallies to train his followers to see violence in a positive light. His speech in Las Vegas modeled in America, where the press is penned up and anyone who criticizes the leader deserves a beating. Hate crimes have increased annually since Trump's arrival on the political scene, starting with a 17% jump between 2016 and 17. A study by political scientists showed that a 226% increase in hate crimes in counties that hosted a Trump rally in 2016. Like past strongmen, Trump used propaganda, corruption, and the cult of male force to create a climate favorable to persecution. Latino migrants, a main enemy, have been branded as a demographic and racial threat to American purity. His policies of mass incarceration have been in line with American traditions. The United States is the world's biggest jailer, to have drawn on practices inherited from previous administrations. Yet, Trump's anti-immigrant crusade has gone much further. Of the approximately 400,000 people who spent time in Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, in custody in 2018, 70% had no criminal record, a change from previous administration's policies. Racism, rather than crime prevention, has driven his policies. Quote, Trump is building a deportation machine, end quote, charged Congress's Hispanic caucus in the autumn of 2019. Trump used repetition and other propaganda techniques to guide the public to see his treatment of immigrants as necessary for the nation's safety. At 64 rallies held between February 2017 and August 2019, he mentioned immigrants more than 500 times, labeling them as criminals, 189 mentions, killers, 32, and predators, 31. A blitz of 2,199 Facebook ads appeared between February and August of 2019, warning of the consequences of an immigrant, quote, invasion, end quote. This message apparently resonated with white nationalist Patrick Crusius, whose Facebook page featured Trump anti-immigrant slogans. On August 2nd, 2019, Crusius opened fire on a Latino-frequented El Paso Walmart, murdering 21 people and injuring dozens. Quote, this is a response to the Hispanic invasion, end quote, his manifesto stated. The Department of Homeland Security, which oversees immigration policy, has become a haven for ideologues who take their cues from Trump advisor Stephen Miller. He is a quiet extremist, the most dangerous kind who works behind the scenes. Miller promoted the, quote, zero tolerance, end quote, policy in force for 6 months in 2018 and continuing unofficially, which made family separations at the border state policy. He's tried to remove immigrant children from schools, repeating fascist treatments of Jews. Customs and Border Protection, CPB, agents have echoed Nazi camp procedures and telling parents that their children are being taken away to have a, quote, bath, end quote, than imprisoning or deporting the parents. The unwashed children may be placed in detention centers, or they may be assigned to evangelical Christian adoption agencies like Bethany Child Services, a company long supported by Trump Education Secretary Betsy DeVos's family. Some adoption agencies make an effort to reunite the children with their families, yet the scale of those forced separations, almost 70,000 in 2019, bring Trump's practices in line with states like Hitler's Germany and Pinochet's Chile, where children were taken from Jewish, leftist, and indigenous parents to be raised by more, quote, appropriate, end quote, individuals. The ICE agents that round up migrants increasingly appear in neighborhoods in SWAT team formations, in full tactical gear. CPB agents who operate within a 100-mile radius of the border also see themselves as soldiers, and some refer to migrants as their, quote, prisoners of war, end quote. Many treat their facilities as spaces of exception from professional and ethical norms. While drug smuggling among the CPB agents was not uncommon during the Bush and Obama administrations, the demonization of migrants by Trump and his government has encouraged new levels of cruelty, such as the denial of visas to victims of sex trafficking. Quote, Border Patrol is designed to make and made for someone like Donald Trump, end quote, says Jen Budd, a former CPB agent who watched her peers embrace extremist ideas that since 2016 have received White House benediction. In America, too, many people have lain awake at night fearing that state agents will bang on their door. It may seem overblown to compare Trump's detention spaces to those of other strongman regimes, but the similarities and differences are revealing. Prisoners in Nazi work camps like Moringen had mattresses or barracks and access to washrooms. Those in Trump's detention spaces often have been unable to wash or have sleep on the ground, as in the Homestead, Florida facility operated by the Department of Homeland Security by the private for-profit company Caliburn. Citing freezing temperatures, 24-hour lights, and lack of hygiene and medical care, Dr. Dolly Lucio Severe compared conditions in camps in Clint and McAllen, Texas, to those of, quote, torture facilities, end quote. The combined effects of disease, internees are denied flu vaccines, lack of food, water, and sexual abuse led to at least 7 child deaths in the first 5 months of 2019. Extreme crowding, another staple of concentration camp abuse, featured in the reports of the Inspector Generals of Rio Grande and El Paso and Del Norte, both in Texas. In immigration and processing centers there, adults were held in, quote, standing room only conditions for a week, and cells were so crowded that, quote, adults had to stand on the toilets to breathe, end quote. Unsurprisingly, the government banned visitors soon after the reports went public. American public relations and lobbying firms stand ready to present repression in a softer light, as they have for so many foreign strongman states. Corvus, which represents Saudi Arabia, pitched a firm to Caliburn depicting a, quote, warm, clean, and safe conditions inmates enjoy. As time goes by, such spin may be less necessary. Quote, how do you stop these people from crossing the border, end quote, Trump asked the crowd at a 2019 Florida rally. Quote, shoot them, end quote, somebody yelled. If intrusive government propaganda campaigns continued, bolstered by the GOP and right-wing media, more Americans may agree that harming migrants is necessary to protect the country.
I mean, when you have 15,000 people marching up and you have hundreds and hundreds of people and you have 2 or 3 border security people that are brave and great, and don't forget, we don't let them and we can't let them use weapons. We can't. Other countries do. We can't. I would never do that. But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no... That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement. only in the Panhandle.